Have you ever looked in the mirror and asked yourself, why do I keep letting people treat me like this? Why do you keep giving your time, your energy, your heart, and getting the bare minimum in return? Let me ask you something even deeper. What if I told you that you've been trained to settle? What if everything you've accepted up to this point wasn't because you weren't good enough, but because you forgot you were exceptional? They didn't play you because you were weak. They played you because you didn't know your strength. You didn't know your value. You didn't know what was buried inside you. So you kept shrinking, adjusting, trying to fit into places that were never built to honor you. That ends today. This message right here, this is not for the average. This isn't for the people who are satisfied with mediocrity. This is for the one who deep down knows there's more to me than what they see. There's fire in me and I'm done dimming it. You know, something's got to change and you can feel it. The tension, the frustration, the silent scream inside your soul, that's your greatness trying to break free. Because the truth is, you've been lied to. You've been lied to by this world that told you to stay humble while others took credit for your work. You've been lied to by the people who said you're too much when you finally spoke up. You've been lied to by your own thoughts that whispered, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I'm not ready. But today I came to remind you, you are not here to be played. You are not here to be tolerated. You are here to be respected, celebrated, elevated, because you, my friend, are not just enough, you are exceptional. So before we go any further, I want you to make a decision. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now decide that you're done begging for seats at tables you were meant to own. Decide that you're done proving your worth to people who already made up their mind to underestimate you. Decide that you're done playing small so other people can feel comfortable. This is a moment where the shift begins, where you stop getting played and start taking your place. Because once you know who you are, no one can play you, no one can use you, no one can break you. They can try, but you'll be too rooted, too clear, too powerful to fall for it again. And that's where we're headed. Ready? Let's go. They don't just walk up and say, hey, I'm here to use you. It doesn't work like that. People who play you don't come waving red flags. They come smiling. They come charming. They come disguised as friends, partners, coworkers, even family. And before you know it, you're deep in a situation where your energy is being drained, your peace is disturbed, and your worth is questioned, but you're still hanging on, hoping something changes. Why? Because most of us were never taught to recognize when we're being played. We were taught to be loyal. We were taught to be understanding. We were taught to keep giving people the benefit of the doubt, even when the evidence was slapping us in the face. So you ignore the inconsistencies. You explain away the disrespect. You rationalize the one-sidedness. You keep trying to be the bigger person, not realizing that sometimes being the bigger person just means being the one who walks away. And here's the dangerous part. When you ignore that you're being played, you start believing the story that maybe you're the problem. You start thinking maybe you expect too much. Maybe you should just be more patient. Maybe if you were quieter, less emotional, more agreeable, they'd treat you better. And that lie settles in your spirit and starts rewriting your identity. So now you're not just being played by other people, you're playing yourself by doubting your own value. This is how it starts. You show up for everyone, but when you need someone, crickets. You become the listener, the fixer, the rescuer, the one holding everything together. But when you finally break down, no one's there to catch you. And yet somehow, you still convince yourself to stay. You convince yourself to keep giving, keep showing up, keep proving your worth. Because deep down you think, maybe if I do more, they'll finally see me. But let me tell you something hard and real. People already see your value. They just hope you don't. They hope you stay blind to it. Because as long as you don't recognize how exceptional you are, they can keep taking without giving. They can keep playing the game. They can keep feeding you crumbs and calling it a meal. But the moment you wake up, the moment you remember who you are, the game is over. And they know it. You see, you've been conditioned to tolerate this behavior. Not because you're weak, but because you've got a strong heart. You care deeply, you believe in people, you see the best in them, and you hold on to their potential instead of their patterns. But potential is not proof. Hope is not a strategy, and love is not an excuse to abandon yourself. So let me break this all the way down. The reason you keep getting played is because you haven't fully realized your power yet. You think your kindness means you have to be silent. You think your love means you have to endure pain, but real strength, true exceptional strength, doesn't tolerate being disrespected under the disguise of compassion. Strength knows when to draw a line. Strength knows when to stop explaining and start enforcing. Strength knows that walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom. And the people who play you, they can feel that strength in you. That's why they try to suppress it. That's why they talk over you, dismiss you, guilt trip you, manipulate your empathy. Because deep down, they know the moment you wake up to your worth, you won't need them anymore. You'll stop begging for validation. You'll stop apologizing for taking up space. You'll stop shrinking into boxes you were never meant to fit in. The truth is, you're not being played because you're broken. You're being played because you're powerful. And your power is inconvenient to people who benefit from your confusion. So now you have a choice. You can keep letting people play you, hoping one day they'll wake up and treat you right. Or you can wake up first. You can decide that from this moment forward, you will no longer participate in your own disrespect. You will no longer hand your worth over to people who don't know what to do with it. Start paying attention. How do they respond when you set a boundary? How do they act when you say no? Do they only show up when they need something? Are you always the one initiating, the one fixing, the one trying? You see, when someone is playing you, it's never really about them. It's about the story you're telling yourself, that you need them to validate your existence, that you have to earn love, that you're not enough on your own. That's the lie, that's the programming, and that's what you have to destroy. Because once you change the story, the players disappear. They can't exist in the presence of someone who knows their worth. They can't operate in a space where manipulation has no seat at the table. They can't play the game when you're no longer showing up as a pawn, but as a king, a queen, a force. So stop asking, why do they keep doing this to me? And start asking, why do I keep allowing it? You are not fragile. You are not forgettable. You are not replaceable. You are not disposable. You are exceptional, and it's time to start living like it. Not tomorrow, not when they treat you better, not when you feel ready. Now, this is where you take your power back. Not because they changed, but because you finally did. Somewhere along the way, you forgot who you are. You weren't always like this. You weren't always second-guessing your voice, your value, your purpose. There was a time, maybe when you were younger, maybe before life wore you down, when you knew you were different. You knew there was something special in you. You had dreams that lit your soul on fire. You had energy, fire, curiosity, confidence. You didn't ask for permission, you just were. You didn't need anyone to confirm your worth because it was alive inside of you. But then the world got to you. Not all at once. No, it was subtle, bit by bit, word by word, experience by experience. People told you to sit down when you were trying to stand out. They told you to be realistic when you were trying to be remarkable. They laughed at your dreams. They made you feel too loud, too weird, too much. And you, wanting love, wanting connection, wanting to belong, started dialing yourself down, shrinking, softening, silencing. And it worked. They accepted the quieter version of you, the more agreeable version, the version that didn't shine too bright. But in doing that, something started to die inside you. Something started to ache. You could feel it. That small voice saying, this isn't me, this isn't who I am. But instead of listening, you kept adjusting. You kept molding yourself to fit into spaces that couldn't hold your truth. And every time you did that, you drifted further from your essence, further from your fire, further from your exceptional nature. Because let me tell you something, the world won't. You were not made to blend in. You were made to stand out. You weren't created to be average. You weren't born to be silent. You weren't put here to be tolerated. You were born to break barriers, to set standards, to walk in rooms and shift energy just by your presence. You were born to lead, to love fiercely, to create boldly, to speak unapologetically. But the world couldn't handle that version of you, so they trained you to forget it. You started settling. You started choosing comfort over calling. You started choosing people who didn't see your worth over being alone with your greatness. Because deep down, you didn't feel ready to carry the weight of your gift. You didn't feel equipped to walk in your full truth. So you played small. You called it humble. You called it loyal. But really, it was fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of failing. Fear of being alone at the top. Fear of making others uncomfortable with your shine. But guess what? Playing small didn't protect you. It just robbed you. It robbed you of time, of joy, of opportunities, of you. Let me remind you of something no one else may have told you. There is nobody like you on this planet. Not before, not after, just you. And what lives inside you, your ideas, your love, your creativity, your spirit, that is your superpower. But you've been hiding it. You've been tucking it away to keep the peace. You've been downplaying it so others don't feel insecure. You've been pretending you're less than what you are. And for what? Approval? Acceptance? You can't build an exceptional life while living for the approval of people who don't even know who they are. The truth is, they were never supposed to understand your fire. It wasn't given to them. It was given to you. It was placed in your soul for your assignment, your vision, your path. And it's time to stop denying that. It's time to stop dissociating your identity to fit into environments that were never designed for your greatness. You've spent years being what the world told you to be. Now it's time to be who you were born to be. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to create your greatness. You just need to remember it. It's still there, buried underneath the people-pleasing, buried underneath the disappointments, buried underneath the mistakes. It's still there, waiting, your voice, your purpose, your identity. You don't need to find it in a book. You don't need someone else to hand it to you. You don't need anyone to give you permission. It's already in you. The world has enough replicas, enough carbon copies. What it needs is you, the real you, the you who knows your value without explanation. The you who doesn't shrink when others are intimidated. The you who walks in every room like you belong there, because you do. You've forgotten who you are, but life didn't, your purpose didn't, and it's been trying to wake you up through that heartbreak, through that betrayal, through that job loss, through that silence, through that moment when you looked around and thought there's got to be more than this. That's your calling tugging at your soul. That's your greatness, saying, I'm still here. Are you ready now? So stop waiting for someone to discover you. Discover yourself. Stop waiting for the world to crown you. Crown yourself. Stop asking, do I have what it takes? You are what it takes. You are powerful. You are necessary. You are exceptional. Not someday. Not if you fix yourself. Not once you get it all together. Right now. In the moment you stop forgetting that is the moment your life begins to transform. Not because the world finally saw your light, but because you finally did. Your life right now, the people in it, the habits you have, the situations you keep finding yourself in, is not random. It's not coincidence. It's a reflection of what you've allowed over and over again. The patterns you tolerate, the boundaries you don't set, the behaviors you excuse, they all add up, and slowly, silently, they start to shape the world you live in. You don't end up stuck in toxic relationships by accident. You don't end up constantly drained, frustrated, overlooked, and underestimated by accident. It's a pattern, one that was built day by day, choice by choice. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. It wasn't them. It was you who allowed it. You who gave chance after chance. You who kept showing up for people who never showed up for you. You who convinced yourself that settling was just part of life. We become so good at explaining away pain, don't we? We say things like, that's just how they are, or maybe I'm asking for too much, or they're going through something. And little by little, we start building a life based on excuses instead of standards. We keep making room for chaos, and then we wonder why we don't have peace. We keep allowing the same disrespect in different packaging, and then cry when we get the same results. But let's be real. Nothing changes until you do. The universe doesn't reward what you want. It rewards what you tolerate. You can pray, visualize, manifest, write in your journal all day long, but if your daily patterns scream, I'll accept less, then that's exactly what you'll continue to attract. You're not stuck, you're repeating. You've trained people how to treat you based on what you let slide. You've taught your own mind what to expect based on the limits you refuse to break. So now, even when something good does show up, you question it, you sabotage it, you think it's too good to be true because your patterns are wired to expect the struggle, the disrespect, the inconsistency. This is why people stay in the same cycles for years. Different jobs, same toxic dynamic, different relationships, same emotional void, different cities, same internal emptiness, because they changed the scenery but not the script. They switched the environment but not the expectation. So the pattern follows them. And hear me, you cannot live an exceptional life with unexceptional standards. You can't expect to be valued when you don't value yourself. You can't demand respect from the world when you keep disrespecting your own time, your own body, your own voice. The pattern is the prison, and you hold the key. Start paying attention to what you repeat. Every morning you wake up and scroll for 45 minutes before doing anything for yourself. That's a pattern. Every time someone crosses a line and you smile and let it slide, that's a pattern. Every time you stay silent when your soul is screaming to speak up, that's a pattern. And each one is building a life that feels smaller and smaller and smaller. But the good news, patterns can be rewritten. You don't have to keep being the strong one that everyone dumps their problems on while ignoring your own. You don't have to keep being the one who gives more in every relationship, hoping one day someone will match your effort. You don't have to keep repeating the story that says, this is just how my life is. No, that's how your pattern is, not your destiny. You were never meant to live on repeat. You were meant to evolve. You were meant to outgrow environments that no longer serve you. You were meant to break cycles. Your family normalized. You were meant to be the one who says, enough, this ends with me. But nothing changes until you recognize that you're in control. You're not helpless. You're not powerless. You're not cursed. You're just in a cycle, and cycles break when you do. And listen, it's not going to feel comfortable. Breaking patterns is going to feel like breaking a part of you. That relationship, you've outgrown. Letting go will hurt. That habit that numbs the pain. Letting it go will leave you raw. That identity you've built around being needed by everyone. Releasing it will make you feel lost. But that discomfort, that's the price of freedom. You've got to be willing to disappoint others in order to stop disappointing yourself. You've got to be okay with being misunderstood while you rebuild. You've got to understand that the new life you're craving is on the other side of the old patterns you're afraid to break. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You've just been stuck in survival mode for too long. You've been managing instead of mastering, reacting instead of creating, coping instead of conquering. But now it's time to shift. Raise your standard. Change your rhythm. Elevate your expectation. Every time you say no to what no longer serves you, you rewrite your pattern. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you rewrite your pattern. Every time you walk away from chaos instead of chasing closure, you rewrite your pattern. And eventually, those new decisions become your new life. So don't ask, why is my life like this? Ask, what have I been allowing? Because what you allow becomes what you live. And once you realize that, everything changes. People don't just wake up one day and decide to disrespect you. They don't randomly choose to ignore your boundaries, take you for granted, or treat you like an afterthought. That behavior is learned over time by how you respond to what they do. Every time you stay silent when someone crosses a line, you're teaching them it's okay. Every time you excuse bad behavior just to keep the peace, you're setting a new standard, one where your dignity is negotiable. And make no mistake, people pay attention to that. They test your limits not to hurt you, but to see what your limits are. They want to know how far they can go, how little they can give, how much they can take, and whether you'll still be there, still smiling, still accepting whatever version of themselves they choose to give you. And if you do, that becomes the blueprint. That becomes the unspoken agreement. You give them the manual on how to treat you every time you accept something that makes your spirit shrink. You teach people how to treat you by what you accept, not what you expect. Expectations mean nothing if your actions don't match. You can say, I deserve respect, but if you stay in situations where disrespect is the norm, your actions say otherwise. You can say, I want honesty, but if you keep giving second chances to liars, you're showing them there are no real consequences. You can post about self-love all day, But if you tolerate emotional crumbs in your relationships, you're sending the message that your worth is still negotiable. The real lesson isn't just that people can play you, it's that you allow the game to continue by staying on the field. You keep hoping they'll change. You keep thinking if I love them harder, they'll finally see my worth. But love is not supposed to be proven through pain. You're not supposed to earn it by enduring mistreatment. That's not love, that's programming. That's the result of conditioning that taught you being good meant being quiet, that being loyal meant staying through chaos, and that being kind meant tolerating everything. No more. You're not here to be the emotional dumping ground. You're not here to be the backup plan, the therapist, the afterthought. You're not here to teach grown people how to treat you with the basic decency you've always deserved. But if you've been teaching them the wrong lesson by staying silent, then guess what? You have to reteach them. That starts by resetting the standard. Start showing people that your time is valuable by not always being available. Start showing people that your boundaries are real by enforcing them when they're crossed. Start showing people that your love is powerful, but it's not unconditional when it comes to disrespect. And when you do this, something wild happens. People get uncomfortable. They push back. They might call you difficult, selfish, cold, or too much. But don't flinch. That reaction isn't about you. It's about them losing access to the version of you that made their life easier while yours suffered. They're not mad at your boundaries. They're mad that their manipulation stopped working. You see, you've been so busy trying to prove you're good enough that you forgot you're exceptional. And when you know you're exceptional, your energy shifts. You no longer beg to be chosen. You no longer chase people who treat you like an option. You no longer explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Because exceptional people don't chase, they attract, they command, they lead. And that starts with self-respect. Self-respect is the root of every standard you set. It's not about arrogance. It's not about being better than others. It's about knowing your worth so deeply that you refuse to negotiate with anyone who doesn't see it. It's about standing so firmly in who you are that people either rise to meet you or fall away. Either way, you win. And here's something you have to understand. The people who truly value you, they want you to have standards. They respect your boundaries. They're not threatened by your strength. They're drawn to it. So stop worrying about who you'll lose when you level up. Start focusing on who you'll finally attract once you start walking in your full power. But don't wait for anyone else to change. This part is on you. You want different, be different, move different, speak different, respond different, because every time you reinforce your value, you're reteaching the world how to treat you. And not just the world, yourself. Because the truth is, the way you let others treat you often mirrors the way you treat you. Do you cancel on yourself the way they cancel on you? Do you ignore your own needs the way they ignore your feelings? Do you show up for yourself with the same energy you give everyone else? If not, that's the first place to start. Because when you start treating yourself like you matter, everything else follows. Your standards rise, your boundaries strengthen, your circle shifts, and slowly the life you thought you had to fight for begins to form around you. Not because you forced it, but because you finally aligned with it. You don't have to demand people treat you better. You just have to stop teaching them that they can treat you any kind of way. Let them adjust, or let them exit. Either way, your new standard is set. There comes a moment in every person's life where they have to make a decision, not about where they want to go, not about who they want to impress, but about who they're willing to become. And if you're listening to this right now, I believe that moment is here for you, because deep down, you already know the truth. You've been playing smaller than you were created to be. You've been hiding your brilliance behind doubt. You've been burying your greatness under layers of fear, guilt, and apology. But the truth is, it's time. Time to rise, time to stand, time to stop apologizing for who you are and activate your greatness. You don't need permission to shine. You don't need someone to discover you, validate you, or give you a platform. The only permission slip you ever needed was the breath in your body and the fire in your soul. And you've got both. But here's what's been happening. You've been waiting for the right time, waiting for the fear to disappear, waiting for your self-doubt to magically evaporate, waiting until you feel 100% ready. And let me be honest with you, that day will never come. You don't activate greatness by waiting. You activate it by deciding. You activate it by standing up. Even when your voice shakes, you activate it by showing up scared, unpolished, imperfect, but showing up anyway. Because greatness isn't some mythical destination. It's not about fame, money, or having all the answers. Greatness is about alignment. It's about being bold enough to live out what you already know is inside of you. It's about refusing to die with your gifts still locked up in your chest. It's about walking in your truth, even if your knees are trembling. You've spent years trying to be not too much. You've apologized for your intensity, your ambition, your passion, your vision. You've been shrinking to make other people feel comfortable. But here's the truth. The people who are intimidated by your light were never meant to walk with you in the first place. You were never meant to be understood by everyone. You were meant to become, to build, to break limits. And that can't happen if you're still trying to fit into boxes you've already outgrown. So many of us grew up believing that confidence was arrogance, that power was threatening, that if you believed in yourself too much, you were full of yourself. But let me tell you what's more dangerous than arrogance: apologetic greatness, the kind of greatness that's always watering itself down, the kind that whispers when it should roar, the kind that bends, folds, and breaks to be liked. That's the kind that never changes the world. You weren't born to whisper. You weren't born to fit in. You weren't born to dim your light for people who are afraid to face their own darkness. You were born to set the standard. You were born to lead. You were born to move, shake, and shift things. But that version of you will never show up as long as you're still apologizing for being powerful. You've got something in you that this world needs. That idea, that voice, that passion that won't leave you alone. That's not random. That's your assignment. That's your soul reminding you, I'm still here. I haven't given up on you. But the question is, have you given up on you? You keep saying you're not ready, but ready is not a feeling, it's a decision. You keep waiting for someone to push you, but at this point in your life, no one's coming. It's on you. You are the one you've been waiting for. And if you don't activate your greatness, if you don't rise now, you're going to wake up one day with regret heavier than failure could ever be. See, the scariest part of living an average life isn't that you fail, it's that you succeed at things that don't matter. You get really good at being acceptable, you become excellent at being average. You build a life that looks good on the outside, but inside, your spirit is starving. That is not success. That is survival. And you were made for more. You can't keep apologizing for evolving. You can't keep apologizing for wanting more. You can't keep playing the background in a story you were born to lead. When you activate your greatness, people will talk. They'll misunderstand you. Some will even walk away. Let them go. Because nothing is more expensive than staying where you're not growing. The people who are meant for you, they won't be threatened by your power. They'll honor it. They won't try to compete with you. They'll celebrate you. But those people won't find the version of you that's still shrinking. They'll only meet the one who decided to rise. So rise, even if your hands are shaking. Rise, even if your voice is trembling. Rise, even if nobody claps. Because greatness doesn't wait for applause. And let me tell you this, when you truly start walking in your power, you don't have to chase opportunities. They find you. You don't have to beg for respect. You command it by how you carry yourself. You don't need a spotlight. You are the light. And once you realize that, you'll stop apologizing and you'll start activating. No more playing small. No more dimming your light. No more second guessing your fire. No more apologies for being who you are. It's your time now. Walk in it. Own it. Activate your greatness. And don't you dare apologize for it again. You've heard the truth now. Not the sugar-coated version. Not the watered-down version. But the real truth. The kind that cuts through the noise and speaks directly to your soul. And the truth is this. You are not average. You are not meant to be overlooked. You are not here to be played, used, or forgotten. You are here because you are exceptional. But being exceptional isn't just a label. It's a responsibility to stop tolerating what tears you down, a responsibility to break the patterns that keep you small, a responsibility to speak up, stand tall, walk away, and never beg to be seen again. Because you were never invisible. You were just surrounded by people who couldn't recognize your light. Well, now you know. Now you remember. And once you remember who you are, you don't go back. You don't shrink. You don't beg. You don't apologize. You rise. So let this be your line in the sand, your turning point. No more playing along in a game that was never built for your victory. No more trading your power for approval. No more mistaking loyalty for self-betrayal. You are not someone to be played with. You are someone to be respected, elevated, and remembered. Let the world adjust to you. Let your energy speak louder than their doubts. Let your presence remind them what greatness looks like. Because the moment you activate who you really are, the moment you decide, everything begins to change. This is your time, your rise, your rebirth. Stop getting played and start walking like the world already knows you are exceptional.